Hey, hello Valpo Nation. We're here to cast our first match of the season for League of Legends. This is our Week 1 GLEC match, Valpo versus Tiffin. I'm here with Monsieur. I'm Vector, and we're happy to host this game for you guys today. We're gonna get started with draft here.
So let's see. What are we looking at with the band so far?
Well, I see that Amumu and Melio have been taken out, and I know that the Law is a big Melio guy, so that's probably why they've taken that out.
And I was gonna say I do know that our jungler Super Bear has been practicing Mumu quite a decent bit recently. So seeing it banned from Tiffin is realizing trying to figure out which of our team is up to bat first. Valpo obviously banning that Poppy, Ziggs, and Ezreal. So kind of interested to see where hopefully this draft is going. Obviously Valpo being B1. They have first. They have first pick. And we do see the Orianna ban from Tiffin, knocking out two mid laners, one from Valpo, one from Tiffin.
I was about to say finally a mage ban. We usually see more of those with Jakimbo in the lobby, but not today.
Jakimbo's deciding to keep Jakimbo. I guess is keeping us on our toes. Wonder what his draft is. Oh, but we do see the B1 Talia pick, a classic staple for Jakimbo. From the GLEC matches and NECC from last semester. So we're expecting another good fight with him. But for Tiffin, how are they gonna respond, and what are they gonna blind pick in? What are they gonna choose as their second blind pick?
So you might know better than me right now. Is is Talia currently flex jungle, or is she just mid right now?
I would say not really much flex jungle. The nerfs I think like 3 or 4 patches ago really knocked her out of being like a really good flex pick. I mean, if you're a one trick on Talia, then you can probably still make her work, but definitely I would say not competitively viable. But we do see the Syndra and Vi from Tiffin. Definitely a lot of lockdown, specifically with that Vi ult into Syndra ult.
Zach, I think we're gonna see the Zach slammed by Valpo here. That's a signature pick of Super Bear. So we're gonna see him sliming out this game. He's gonna do some good work. But Syndra, Talia, those are two of the most common champions you'll see in mid lane organized play. So that's hold on,
They caught
Jarvan
you off
four,
guard.
Jarvan four. That's also a good pick from Super Bear. I taught him everything he knows. Um, but we're gonna see him hit some good ults here. I bet.
I was gonna say we're gonna have to see it, especially with the responsive. I know that Zach personally I think is Super Bear's like most comfortable choice, but I do know that he's been picking up J4 quite a bit, specifically in kind of countering of what Zach's strong points are and Jarvan the Force or J4's strong points are against the Vi. Really good option to counter lockdown the Vi.
So we see Misfortune for Valpo, which MF ult Jarvan ult is a pretty classic wombo combo. But Jarvan is actually a really strong pick into Vi. You can get the knock up pretty easily when she dashes in, and that'll leave her very vulnerable.
And I was gonna say even like the conditional engage on Vi, if Vi ults and then Talia also ults either to get if she wants or if she wants to use it to get out of safety, Vi stuck along on the ride, which could make Talia which could make a counter alt on Talia actually very viable on Vi. I don't know specifically how that interaction works though, because I knew there is a slight cooldown between when Talia can launch her art. Do you know anything more about the Talia
I
ult?
don't. I just know that Vi is that starts right away. I think that uh, the Talia might get caught, but we do see Braum from Tiffin a couple picks ago. We we got a little sidetracked, but that's just a classic response to the misfortune. You can block the ults pretty easily.
But yeah, blocking the ults pretty easily, and also just just a good secure choice. We do see the second half of bans coming in. Tiffin banning the Camille specifically against our top laner, and then we see the Volley and the Kennen. So will we see four bans all for the top side since we already know the junglers have already been chosen? And we see a Rumble.
Rumble.
So it is a quad-sided top lane ban. Um, Camille, I know Kennen did extremely well in the meta before this patch. I know he's been knocked down a peg or two. I think even the next round of patches that'll go out late tomorrow, early Wednesday, I think are also focusing on him in preparation for Worlds. And Rumble's an
Yeah,
absolute
Rumble's a
monster.
classic. Kaisa Braum, that's a classic lane.
What would you like to see from Valpo to help to make that bot lane good?
Well, do we? Is the law playing support this game?
He should be.
Uh, that's a good question. That's a good question. I know he likes to play Braum a lot. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, I was gonna say some kind of engaged champion from the law here, and that is right up his alley.
And finally up, with Dreadful at the top side with the possible Mordekaiser pick would be a kind of good balancing out of their of AP to AD ratio, and especially that Mord ult to just kind of give a 1v1 to any champion, knocking out either Kai'Sa Syndra or the Vi could just make it so any of their ults just aren't available for that 7 second death realm window. But what would be Tiffin coming up here with their final pick. Reds. What would be knowing Dreadful a little bit? What do you think could be something a little interesting to see from Tiffin in response
Tiffin,
to
I think Fiora is a pretty solid pick. Oh,
Renekton?
interesting.
I would not necessarily say
I would not have
Renekton.
picked Renekton. Renekton was my first main when I started playing League of Legends, and Mordekaiser always made me mad. So we'll see how that plays out for this top lane this game.
We will have to see because it's now a double poke. Kaisa obviously had a lot of adjustments recently, especially with now her enhanced W. If she chooses to evolve W, my bad. If she chooses to take it, now passes through champions, but it doesn't give that refund anymore. So looking at both of these team comps, just a kind of final quick commentary on it. Both these team comps look really solid. Definitely going to be very interesting to see how the first team fight goes. Specifically if Syndra's going to get some good stacking on her splinters. And then if Mord is able to also kind of be slightly ahead on gold, he'll be able to stat check the enemy champions. So anything else that we should kind of keep an eye out for with this opening draft?
I'm sort of thinking about the late game here. So I know that Syndra is one of the hardest scaling champions in the entire game after her mini rework she received. But Mord's also up there for hardest scalers. Like once you get to 4 or 5 items on Mord, you're pretty much unkillable. Whereas with Renekton kind of falls off a cliff around half an hour, 20 minutes. He starts to become a stun tool in fights. So Valpo's going to have to be really, really careful about Renekton dashing to the back line and hitting a stun on Misfortune before anybody can react.
Yeah, I was gonna just to even add on to that. Tiffin kind of has a good, solid little mixture from what you were saying. Renekton has the early game pressure, and then Syndra can kind of help compensate for late game pressure. So
Yeah, the top side 2v2 is way stronger for Tiffin earlier. Vi Renekton is basically an unbeatable 2v2 in the early game because you get the armor shred from both Renekton and Vi, and that's just so much damage from both of them. So Valpo's gonna have to be really careful playing around Grubs and Rift Herald.
and with that, and so now looking to just the general roster as we have a few minutes until we actually get into the game. As this being the first game, we did have a little bit of a team shakeup from spring season to the fall. Coach Chase still is here running the show, and for our starting lineup this year, we have Dreadful in the top lane, Super Bear in the jungle, Jakimbo, or as you guys may know him, MF Jakimbo back in fall last year, DNM in the bot lane, and then the Law in the support side. You knew the team better than I did last year. So is there any with the team kind of shaking up a little bit? Any
Yeah. So when I came here, I'm a senior. I played from freshman to junior year. Dreadful was our top laner originally. He switched to bot lane last year when we lost our previous ADC. So we're kind of seeing a return to form for Dreadful here. So I think he's just been waiting for his chance to dominate top lane again. Um, we have Diadem and ADC, and he was kind of stepping into that role late last season. Once Dreadful had headed back to top lane, Super Bear, Valpo jungler, he was doing great last year. Um, Jakimbo and the Law kind of staying in their positions, but that's where they both really shine. So I think this is a very strong roster that we've got here.
As it'll be interesting to see in the first few games of the season how everyone returning back to their original positions goes. We are going to take a quick break just in preparation for the game. We'll catch you all soon, Beacons. We are back with our first game of the season. Again, for those of you watching, Valpo Esports is on the blue side, and Tiffin is on red. We do see red starting with a 4-4-1 split. Talia catching them out on the vision. I don't know if they CJ4. They CJ4. We do see Ward does not get broken. No freeze head and gold to the opposing team.
So Renekton did start D Shield, which that kind of means I don't really know. It's a little confusing to me because Renekton generally kind of suffers from those D Shield starts. You lose so much early pressure because with the Doran's Blade, you get to stay there. Renekton already has good lifesteal, so the D-Blade just makes it better. If you're picking Shield, you're kind of giving up a lot of that early game pressure that Renekton excels at getting. So I'm not sure why you would pick Renekton into a matchup where you're going to be buying D-Shield, but we'll see.
I was going to say, I also agree. You were specifically saying earlier about how we were worried about a Renekton early game threat, and D Shield kind of takes away some of that threat, especially as more just starts with Ring. We do see Tiffin's bot side. Braum did miss the Q, and we're just seeing a light friendly friendly conversations with both teams. Braum throwing it, but we do see the Misfortune double bounce Q hitting the Braum for some nice chip damage early. Tiffin did end up getting a deep ward in on Valpo's blue buff, so that does give at least some knowledge about where Super Bear is for the first 2 minutes. Well, actually none now because it looks like it has expired.
So that is the thing about the Braum Misfortune pick, is that while you are really, really, really annoying when you get to level 6 and you start blocking your ults, you do kind of eat a lot of Qs to the face in the early game. So you get chunked out pretty hard. But we do see Wenlong 2002 doing a pretty good job of managing Fury and keeping health up. Farm is pretty even right now.
Par pretty even on both sides. Valpo has a slight advantage. I'm just looking at the top. If I had to guess, around 50-60 gold. We do see cutting back to midway for a second. Jakimbo does get hit by that QW chain, giving Syndra an extra splinter. And then for those of you who don't know, with Syndra's rework now, what, almost a year ago now? Over a year?
About a year.
Syndra now has become like a partially scaling champion with her splinters, and it's 60, 80, 100, and 120 are her benchmarks for when she gets a lot stronger abilities. So as we start seeing around level 7, 9, 10, and like 14 will probably be when we'll see those spikes. Oh, we do see an engage starting in the bot side.
Vi just came in a little bit too late to make a lot happen there, but we are seeing some really good poke come out from Tiffin, putting the law down to about half. But Vi does show bot lane, so it's just going to be a 1-for-1 on crabs. So I think not terribly a lot came from that trade.
No, but just as always, makes it sometimes look a lot scarier. We did see, as we saw for a second, Dreadful is poking down the Renekton pretty nicely, especially going with the Conqueror not really having much of a chance to activate. But we do see, even looking in the mid lane, it does look like Jakimbo has a slight CS lead going into this fight. Even looking at resources, Syndra significantly lower on mana.
I'm also looking at the CS difference top lane. So we've got Dreadful up about 12 CS, and both of his health potions are unused. The other thing I'm noticing is Renekton has PTA, which generally when you have PTA on Renekton, you're trying to one-shot a squishy character with that because it's really, really easy for Renekton to stack PTA, but Mordekaiser's somebody who's going to kind of force you to take long fights, and I think Conqueror's a little better for that. But one advantage Renekton does have in this matchup that Dreadful will need to be careful about is Renekton's empowered W destroys shields. So if Mord tries to go for a big shield, if Wenlong if Wenlong's very
Just a friendly glance bot side. Super Bear this time deciding that he wanted to make a most out of Vi and try to make a play happen.
We did burn Braum's flash right as Dragon comes up, so I think Valpo is going to look to capitalize off that for an early Dragon play.
Valpo looks like that. It does look like we might have our first team fight going in here.
First team fight of the game. Oh, great engage onto Kai'Sa.
And all right, Kai'Sa burning barrier into J4 flashing with the shield. Jakimbo roaming down.
Great roam from Jakimbo. He's going to try and clean up on Braum, maybe even Kai'Sa, but I think Valpo's going to back up with their one kill, and I think we're going to reset before Dragon.
Which is the smart decision from Valpo's end. Again, now that makes Valpo up around 600, 700 gold to 400 gold from First Blood. Jakimbo looks like had to have to sacrifice a wave, but it was well worth it to get that First Blood kill, and it does stop the Dragon, Dragon progression, but turning for a kill and burning both sums on Kai'Sa and the other sum on Braum was very nice.
So it just happened, what I was just talking about, where Renekton went in for a trade, Dreadful popped W, and then Renekton used that empowered W to break the Mord's shield. We see the CS difference. Well, a couple seconds ago it was a little closer than it is now, but it is It is a little harder to bully Renekton as hard now that he's level 6. Renekton's like combo potential becomes way scarier at level 6 because you can instantly get even 75 Fury from Renekton's secret passive nobody knows about. Did you know you get more Fury generation if you're below half health?
I did not know this. See, this is why
So,
Vector says that it is in fact a secret tech.
so if you as Renekton hit ult because it gives you 50 Fury, if you're below half health it gives you 75.
Which is super strong because each empowered skill takes 50,
50.
right? And so just kind of looking at that, looks like that blows did start to trade towards the grubs for the first rotation. It did look like, if I had to guess, it looked like Tiffin took 2 grubs, but
Yeah, Tiffin's got 2 grubs. We can see it at the top.
Oh, thank you. I've always looked. Oh, but we do see the potential engage going in on Jakimbo. We do see the Syndra burning ults.
And we have a nice roam from the Law into mid lane, and we're gonna be looking for this Vi here. Oh,
No kill on bot side, but we do see that the Renekton is genuinely one-shottable by an isolated Mord Q. But with Syndra being low, Jakimbo also being low, we do see that the potential for Dragon is here.
that's a great dodge from Diadem right there.
Guys, and Braum, we do see that the Braum hit does stun, but it looks like that with being unable to secure the kill on Diadem, it looks like that Valpo Esports takes the first dragon, which is Hextech.
Hextech. And Hextech is a great soul for Valpo's objectives. Like, the ability haste is so good on every champion here, and the attack speed is great on Jarvan and Misfortune.
What soul would you like to see for this first game?
Well, if I wanted Valpo to win, which I do, because this is our stream, I would really like to see, what does Chemtech's soul do now?
Chemtech is, if you're under 50%, it is increased damage. I think it's 11%.
Okay, I'm thinking Mountain Soul would probably be best for Valpo here, because that's going to help a lot with some of the burst damage from Kai'Sa, Syndra, Renekton late game, because our team is... 3 of the members of this team are a little squishy. Jarvan, depending how you build him, can be pretty tanky. I'm not sure what item Super Bear is going to be starting off with, but at least Talia and MF are pretty squishy characters, so a Mountain Soul would really go far in keeping them alive longer.
And with that, well, let's take a quick look at the gold scoring. We've been talking a little bit about it, but now we have a little bit more info to look at. Top lane is winning at about a 330 gold lead, so just about like a long sword or almost an ability tome worth. Jungle is Super Bear is slightly behind the Vi in terms of gold. We might have to take a break from the gold for a second for a potential engage. We see the Law hitting the Q. Vi does hit the counter Q to disengage.
Looks like Valpo's grouping up for this rift here, for these grubs that are about to come up. And Vi is alone in her jungle, and there are many Valpo team members there.
But Vi is able to escape with a good blast cone Q. But we already see Jakimbo with Luden's companion. He got back to lane around 9:30. So having first item completed at 9:30 is testament, and right around 95 CS at 10 minutes, which for those of you who don't know, 100 CS at 10 minutes is genuinely considered perfect, if not nearly perfect, minion kill scoring. So seeing Jakimbo at 98, and seeing Dreadful's first one to hit 100. Dreadful showing Renekton that even though top lane's been kind of quiet in terms of kills or big action going on, the extra CS right now is worth almost 2 kills.
Watch this, what Mord is about to do on these grubs. This Mord's passive makes taking grubs very, very easy. I think they could even leave Mord to solo this, because they see Vi bot side. They could have had Mord solo that even, just because of how much the Mord passive trivializes taking grubs. But we do see Vi coming down bot lane. I think they're going to try and set up a dive on Diadem here.
I was gonna say if they're gonna set up, if Tiffin set up a dive, they're gonna have to do it relatively soon because we do see the lock coming in relatively closely, and Diadem just playing it safe and just taking a little bit of just backing up a little bit, ensure that there's plenty of spacing between them. Vi does end up leaving.
I think part of the reason they called that off is because they know they're not too far away from a Talia ult coming down to stop the dive, trapping them under the tower, which can be a really, really big problem, especially for some of these characters that don't have a great dash to get them out of tower range.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's a perfect point. But we do see Vi taking the long way around. I probably under Velpo vision, and we do see a fight breaking out. Braum ult and Vi ult just completely locking down Misfortune, giving Tiffin making Tiffin back up and kill equivalents. But we do see a potential.
Yeah, the team's jumping on Renekton here, so I'm thinking the Croc is going to be blown up here in a second.
We see the Talia.
We see his ult coming out.
We see the flash, and we see the enhanced Q for the tiny bit of health. But it does look like the Syndra gets caught out, and Dreadful quickly takes the kill to get himself even more ahead in the top side.
I will say Jarvan's Q hitbox is a little weird, especially at those longer range Qs. It is a little weird. I don't entirely fault Super Bear for missing that Q on the Renekton, even though it would have been really nice to take him out there.
Yeah, I was gonna say it would have been absolutely amazing knocking both of them out right before. It looks like we have Infernal Dragon up in 7, and we have Rift in 30. But it looks like Velpo is
collapsing on Vi in the bot lane, and Vi is just evaporating here.
Diadem gets his revenge on the Vi, and now with Vi out of the game for at least the next 30 seconds, looks like it should be a free Infernal for Velpo.
One thing to note is that first kill on Diadem, who just has gone down again, is that the kill went to Braum, which is not the worst thing in the world for Valpo. And Dreadful's going to pick up a kill top lane. I'm thinking we're going to see a couple more of those just with how this matchup works.
And we just see the flash. We see the flash Q from Jakimbo securing the kill against the Syndra. And also, top tier 1 is down for Tiffin, and Dreadful being a little funny man. We do see the Vi ult, and that unfortunately that's
going to be a kill on Jakimbo there, but Dreadful is a problem right now. Like, you let the Mord sit there and get almost 10 CS a minute, 2 items, first turret, all by himself with 5 platings. That guy has so much gold right now. He's going to be a huge problem for Tiffin to deal with in a little bit.
That's
like almost a 2,000 gold lead on his lane opponent.
So yeah, 2,000 gold lead, especially only 15 minutes in, is just it makes Renekton was already kind of on his way out. And
he's 1,500 up on the highest person on Tiffin,
which is with being the Kaisa. This game definitely turning out to be a good trade on both sides. We do see the quick stun coming in from the Law. We do see a potential 3v3. We do see the Vi come in, and Super Bear not feeling like that. This is a really good winnable
I wouldn't
fight.
Engage on that either.
Just disengages.
If I remember right, they did take away recently the ability to get out of Mord's ultimate with the items, right? With QSS, you can't Quicksilver Sash Mord ult anymore.
You can't Quicksilver Sash it. I think.
Gangplank can't get out of it anymore either, can he?
You can't Orange Tech it.
Thank goodness. I always hated that.
It always felt like it's like, I'm being sent to a Shadow Realm in another world.
By the God of Death. I'm being sent to the God of Death's realm.
And through the power of oranges of all fruits. Not even an apple. Like, at
what
least
do you
an
have
apple
against oranges?
I don't have anything against oranges, but at least if it was like an apple, you could be like, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But you can't
Does
even
Mord have a medical degree? But we're gonna see Valpo take out the Herald here. Really good Herald damage from 4 members of the team. Diadem is gonna try and get a back off, and he's safe and sound back at home. Oh, we're gonna see a 4-man mid. Oh, they want this guy gone.
absolutely destroyed. It did
I think
take
we're going to see the Herald mid too.
It did take 2 of Valpo Esports' ults to secure that kill, but we do see that with the Rift Herald charge, that's at least mid-tier 1 down. And if Valpo Esports plays it right, we could see the potential knock
I
into tier
think
2.
the second turret's going down here because Dreadful is here. He's a huge problem right now, and all they have here to stop him currently is the Mordekaiser, who's a little is the Renekton, who's a little down on gold. So we're gonna see Valpo get this and then back off.
Valpo tier 1 and tier 2, an absolutely amazing trade for Valpo, continuing to keep that gold lead up at right around 4.5, 4.4 thousand. I'm looking at the top side. We didn't get to comment on it earlier, but we saw that Valpo Esports was able to get all 3 of those grubs, making the grub count 4-2, and just the strength of grubs, especially even late game, which is the extra damage on the towers, just means that Valpo Esports has under control. But Tiffin was able to take second drag, which means that we are looking at an Ocean Soul. What do you think about this?
So I was about to bring that up. Our next objective is Ocean Soul in 2 minutes. And Ocean Soul is really, really good for 3 members of Valpo. It's not going to go very far in saving Diadem or Jakimbo from any burst damage, but it is going to make Mordekaiser, Jarvan, Rel last way longer in extended team fights, which I think is going to be really helpful.
And we are going to see the fall of the tier 1 turret for Valpo's side on the bot side, but it does take 3 Vi showing. But I was going to continuing on to talk about that Ocean Soul. I was going to say Ocean Soul by itself counters a lot of pokey comps, and especially if Syndra's just trying to get a few Qs out early before she goes in, that's going to slow them down a little bit. Especially also the Kai'Sa W, yeah.
Especially since she does have static shivs, so that's a big poke item. But if Valpo can take this Ocean Soul, that would go pretty far in kind of offsetting that poke damage.
So yeah, as we look, looks like Valpo Esports sets up for Dragon in around 50 seconds. Baron is up in a minute.
Baron's up in a minute, and they're sending 3 top lane, 4 top lane maybe even.
Try to catch out Dreadful.
I'm thinking that somebody's just going to get ulted in a second. So
we do see that the Vi is
ult did get canceled. The ult got canceled. But Dreadful takes 1 down and flashes away. But he does give a shutdown away to Kai'Sa, which I'm not going to sit here and say that's not a little bit of a problem. Like, you don't really want to see those big shutdowns going to the enemy ADC. But it was only, I'll say only, a 200 gold shutdown. So not the worst thing in the world for Valpo. And off that, they might be able to make a pretty easy dragon play as it spawns here in a couple seconds.
And I was going to say, I really don't think that it was worth it for the shutdown. But even if you look, Tiffin just negated themselves any ability to contest Dragon, and they also burned 4 ultimates trying to kill Dreadful.
So we might even see, because Dreadful's TP is up, we might see Valpo just walk Baron here.
Walk Baron, they, at least on map, they know that Renekton was down. They know that Renekton was down, or down in the bot lane. Both members of Valpo Esports do have their enhanced TP up. We do see also both enhanced TPs up from the Syndra and the Renekton too, so not to make it too different. We do see just some potential. We do see some potential action going on here. We do see it looks like Vi could be trying to turn on to Dreadful or Jakimbo, but Jakimbo just ults away.
He is out of there.
Jakimbo ults away and lives to see another day.
He did not want any part of the Renekton Vi 2v1. That's pretty hard for anybody to survive, let alone a squishy mage.
And we do see it looks like J4 with the Talia W.
We see Justin. We see Jakimbo fighting bot lane. He's fighting the Renekton bot lane as a mage. He did that to Tobias Fate the other day. But we do see all members of Tiffin are bot lane. This is a big investment, Tiffin, and Dreadful is just tearing it up in the back lane. I think this is going to be a big problem for Tiffin in a second. I think that they are about to explode.
I was gonna say, yeah, Tiffin is about to explode. We do see that the Kaisa does burn flash barrier, and it does look like that this might be an enemy ace. This might be an ace.
This could be an
3
ace for
5.
Valpo, depending on how they play their slows, and they do catch up
And
to him, and this is going to be an ace.
with Valpo Esports taking a very sizable win from that. However, it is something to be mentioned that Vector, you did say earlier, Kaisa was able to land a double kill, being 2 of the 3 kills that were obtained. So Kaisa is getting funneled a lot of gold, and so while it's not going to be enough necessarily on its own to get them out, it is genuinely something to start being worried about. That Kaisa, once she gets 3 items, is kind of scary, and she is at like 2 and a third.
2 and a third. Has Dreadful hit 4th item? I'm not sure what that thing is in his 4th slot there.
That is Ash. That is Ash's Cinders. That was with the new legendary item
Got it.
changes.
So that is his 3rd item.
It's just a component. It's
oh, got it.
It's a decent component, especially like early game. You see it in a lot of like AP junglers for like assisting in their clear faster, but it's about a third of an item too. We do see a potential. Engage go. We do see Kaisa ult into Vi ult, taking down the law pretty quickly, which now does mean that Tiffin could look to maybe do a Baron play. Would not probably be the smartest decision, but is something to keep in mind.
The law has fallen and it's anarchy on Summoner's Rift as we see 3 members of Tiffin mid, 1 bot. It's the Renekton versus Jakimbo. Bot lane, 4 are hovering around top side to mid. They're always posturing like they could be taking Baron. But the law is back. Purge has ended. He's back online.
We're back to a rule. Super Bear trying to get it back in the enemy jungle. Kind of confused on why he's sticking out there for so long. We already saw that they had vision there, but we do see it looks like we have a potential 4v3 going in. Syndra is topside. We do see that Jakimbo does have his TP, but we see that Syndra doesn't. At least she would have to roam the walk over there.
Yeah. Jakimbo does need to... Jakimbo's up on gold, and he's a very talented player, but you do, as a mage, kind of have to respect the Renekton with 100 rage sitting in front of you. Like, that can kill most people.
And I was going to say, again, the only true disengage that Talia has is just the W, and
her ultimate, if he felt so inclined. But we are going to see Valpo move to take the Baron, and Tiffin's jungler is bot side, so it's going to be pretty difficult for Tiffin to contest that, and it looks like they have kind of realized that Valpo's on Baron, with Vi moving up towards the Baron, and this might be a smite fight, but...
A smite fight that was technically
won
missed.
By Rel. It was a smite fight won by Rel, and we are going to see the ult go out from MF there, doing some damage to Vi, and I think...
Give us 1 second, pardon the interruption. As we see continuing, as we just see this we see the fight continuing with both the Baron buff now. Dreadful takes another kill in the mid side as they push the wave up. Renekton from Tiffin's side genuinely in one of the worst spots for that fight. Not only was he were they not positioned correctly, the TP to the mid tower just meant that even more precious seconds had to be used to walk over.
Yeah, Renekton has purchased Kaenic Rookery, which that is not an item you want to be in a position where you have to build that on Renekton.
And when
that is just a sign that something has gone wrong.
Let alone when you already had to have Mercury, when you had to have Mercs.
I mean, Mercs is fine on Renekton, but we are going to see Valpo go and take this dragon uncontested. They're going to get their backs, and this is their first back since Baron, so we're going to see a lot of gold get spent here. But Mercs on Renekton is generally pretty good, because one of your biggest worries is when you dive into the backline, you just get stunned over and over again. But Mercs kind of helps offset that a little bit. But if you go Black Cleaver tank item on Renekton, you're struggling. Like, the Crocodile's almost extinct.
And I was gonna say, I was like, with the Croc kind of being a little bit worse, for where we do see that even with Kaenix, that is Dreadful is up an entire item. The Riftmaker. Just being that genuinely a 3-item power spike for so many champions is a huge benefit, and Mordekaiser has one of the strongest with that 10%, or is it 8% now, Omnivamp? I always forget if it's 8 or 10.
It's a high number. It's a high number.
But
We're going to see Valpo with a huge push mid lane, and Dreadful is split pushing top lane. He is pretty much unanswerable by any one member of Tiffin right now. The 0-4 Syndra is not going to put a scratch on Dreadful right now.
Which means they either have to send 2 people. They had to trade something, and it looks like they traded. Well, we do see a fight engagement. We do see Super Bear knocking up the 2 of them.
He hits a big ult onto Tiffin. We see MF's ult go out, Vi ult goes out, but doesn't manage to have any backup from her teammates, which you really need with Vi's ult to close a kill on whoever you've ulted. We see Dreadful kind of moving in with the rest of Valpo, and Jakimbo's kind of cleaning up. He's doing a lot of damage.
Jakimbo's not just cleaning up. He is wiping the floor.
With 30-second respawn times, I'm thinking this is going to be game 1 for Valpo.
We do see the Croc's putting up a final fight.
See, he survived a long time there, but he did not do any damage.
And with that being said, we have the first game. With that, the first game of the GLEC conference versus Tiffin, Valpo steamrolls Tiffin, leading to a successful 1-0 going into the second game.
That's how you want to play that, especially top lane, is if you manage to deprive Renekton of resources early game and then snowball that into a dominant late laning phase, he's really going to struggle. But we had some really well executed team fights from our jungle and bottom side of the map. So that was well executed from Valpo across the board. Blue Light on Kaisa did put up a valiant effort, did their best to kind of bring the rest of the team with them, but it unfortunately was not enough for Tiffin to close the game out. So we're going to be headed to game 2 soon. We'll be back with you in a couple of minutes. back. We're going to be hopping into draft for game two in a second here. Going to
So
see bands are looking pretty similar for Valpo and Tiffin here. This is both of their first bands last time. Tiffin might be looking to run it back against Valpo. That's not too uncommon in GLEC, especially as you see the trademark salty run back where they just pick the same champions and think it'll go differently.
I was gonna say with that being said, we do see the Valpo Ash ban. You can continue to see on Tiffin's side who the bans are gonna go to. If we're gonna see another fun mixture of kind of everyone gets a turn for a ban first half, and then everyone slams the top side bans. I would probably expect to maybe see a Mord ban on Tiffin, especially since that was one of the biggest problem children on Valpo's team. But we do see the Nami ban.
So I am altogether unfamiliar with bot lane pretty much. What does Nami counter? Because they swapped out the Melio for Nami. Is there anything that Nami counters really hard that would tell us Tiffin might be looking to pick?
Not really towards anything like hyper specific. It really depends on who you would see like the ADC.
It's probably because we've switched our support for this game. I don't know if Yovana plays uh, as much Melio as uh, as the
The
Law,
law
but
did.
we're gonna see Jin come out.
As I said, we get to see the full profile pictures for this one. I was kind of confused for a second with the champion. I was like, who is that? And then I was like, oh, that's a Jin pick. I do know that that is one of Dikembe's kind of staples. Diadem. Sorry.
I don't know anybody by that name.
Yeah, it's the lead characters inside my head. But we see the Ziggs response. Right now, I'm pretty sure Ziggs is a pretty strong blind pick for both mid
And bot.
and bot, specifically the ADC.
I would guess that's for bot lane. I feel like Jin Ziggs is probably a pretty even matchup, and we're gonna see Wukong from Tiffin, and that is one of Super Bear's favorite picks. So it's kind of personal in a way, but their jungler's going to be looking to play some Black Myth Wukong this game. If any of you in chat have played that, let us know.
A
Um,
great game to play. But another great game is the good old fisticuffs with a potential Vi pick. Valpo's seen Super Bears probably specifically wanting to show Tiffin how it's done with with the punches. And we'll see as the final Valpo pick we have now between support, mid, and top side. I was gonna say Vi is not strong. To my knowledge, not strong top side, but we do see once again the Jakimbo Talia pick mid side. To you, Victor, what do you think would be a good
I think
obvi-
they're going to pick Syndra.
they're gonna pick Syndra again into the
Hmm,
Talia.
I don't know. With they already have Ziggs, so they'd be kind of lacking in AD damage if they were to go Syndra. Oh, but we do see Ari come out, so
Some nice. It looks a little bit more of the theme. Looks like we got some more mobility on Tiffins and
yeah, that'll help.
Ziggs with the W if he positions himself correctly for the movement. Wukong with just the mini clone, and then Ari obviously with Spirit Essence of the W and uh, sorry, the actual her alt and then her Foxfire with the W. So got a little bit more mobility going around on the top side, and we see Tiffin decided once again to just the Mordekaiser was such a threat last game to not let Dreadful take it this time.
Yeah, I think the Mordekaiser was really a driving force in Valpo's dominance that game. But Darius also banned, and that is Dreadful's favorite champion that has been banned. That's kind of messed up to ban somebody's favorite champion. Um,
Yeah, I was like,
so
oh.
I'm hoping Dreadful slams his top lane matchup just for that.
Well, I was gonna say, looking at team costs, we see the Set Ed Garen once again another four-way ban top side. Interesting to see in this case. We're definitely gonna need to see probably I would say another engage or some sort of tank option from Tiffin, because Wukong will probably go some bruiser mixture. And then kind of same thing with Valpo. Vi's gonna probably go bruiser, if not full lethality. Meaning that we're gonna probably have to see a tank pick somewhere up here. Seems like Tiffin's responding with the not picks. Some good engage, especially on Ziggs. I'm not. No, I was thinking of the difference between the Blitzcrank hook and the not hook. Blitzcrank hook brings you, not hook not gets brought to
So
them.
here's my question: who's following up this engage? Nobody.
Good point.
Nobody. Like they're gonna have Ziggs throw one Q and wait for it to come back up. Like they're gonna hit the whole team. The whole team's gonna knock up with Wukong, and we're gonna see Lux and Cassante, which I think Lux is a great pick against all this engage we're seeing. But as I was saying earlier, it's like you have all this mobility to engage. Like you can, like Ari ult into E is a great pick tool if you can catch somebody out. Wukong, classic team fight engage, Nautilus. But like from their top lane pick, they really need somebody to put out damage in team fights because as it stands right now, okay, yeah, there we go. That's kind of what I was thinking in draft is like if they pick Aatrox, that's what's going to make this work because they really needed somebody who could follow up on all that engage because it would be like Ziggs throws a Q and like the engage time is over
Yeah, and Ari throws a Q, and she
and
just has to position
you have to
herself for the
wait.
reverse. But as the final comments on Valpo's side, we do see the Lux pick. I believe that is the Yovanas pick, one of her kind of core ones. She is a new member to the team this year, and then we see Dreadful kind of filling in the hole that we were talking about earlier, being the tank, but also going to be a conditional tank, especially if Cassante chooses to go all out. And we've seen that Cassante loves to get buffed and nerfed and changed and micro adjusted. He's been out for over a year now, and Riot themselves still kind of can't fully decide what they want to do, which means that Cassante's a little bit of everything. So I think that looking in terms of like team comps overall, I definitely say
Casante's definitely a jack of all trades. Like it's hard to find a team comp where Cassante doesn't fit somehow. But you could say the same about Aatrox. Aatrox is another one of those champions who shows up in just about every other balance patch, some kind of buff or nerf. But how is that matchup top lane? Do you know anything about that matchup? I feel like Aatrox definitely wins that early.
Aatrox definitely wins it early. But I would also say it's like even if Aatrox builds his bruiser, usually it includes some armor, and so if it, like looking at that 2v2, I think Valpa might have it earlier just because of if if Aatrox misses a Q2 or Q3, that's so much damage that's lost, and because of how long the cooldown is before they can start the combo again, it's just gonna take a little bit. I definitely think to what you were pointing earlier, I think bot side's gonna be the side bot mid and bot are gonna be again with bot more especially early side since again that Not doesn't have really good engage into the Ziggs. They're just both there.
and we are back with game 2. Um, what skin is that on Nautilus? Like, I'm gonna say it like this, and I don't mean it like an insult. That skin looks like it just walked out of 2009.
I
But
think
it's kind of charming. It has that rustic charm.
I was gonna say it
Can we get
probably
the cam on Nautilus?
I would love to. I would love. Let's see.
I mean,
Bottom
look at that
one.
thing.
That it looks like
What is that?
steam. Not
It's
steampunk.
cool.
I like
Like a
it,
diesel punk. Diesel punk.
but just showing the skin's age. We do see
Valpo
as
has 5 bot lane.
5 dead stack
I'm
bots.
thinking they're gonna try and hit a. Oh, and they're not even gonna go for the Lux Q. I thought they were gonna try and hit a Lux Q on somebody, but as usual, Valpo Esports hates fun, so they're not gonna go for the Lux Q.
Yeah, I don't want to say that they don't like fun. I think that they're not looking to be overly aggressive when it's not needed. That might be a nicer way to
Well,
put things.
I think they earned some overly aggressiveness last game.
They can afford to be a
Like
little more assertive.
the troll budget is pretty high.
The troll budget is high. I mean, that's fair, but we can also just like see Valkyrie Esports pop off once again. So
What do the fans want to see?
I don't know. I mean, I think they want to see Jakimbo win. Like that's always that's a undisputed fact at this point.
Is the chat mostly Jakimo fans? Chat, if you're listening, type your favorite Valpo Esports player in the chat, and we'll give them a shout out. Whoever gets the most votes.
And I was gonna say, as we're going and looking at this once again, let's take a quick look at the lanes and their overall health, I should say. Top lane looks like it's doing as all top lanes are. Grand total of not a lot of things, a lot of talking, not a lot of action. We do see that both junglers did start on the bot side, so we could have a potential around a 320, 330 engage top side. Talia landing that light poke on the Ahri.
Oh, that light poke's about to become heavy poke in a second.
If you want to make a mistruth around of me, you just have to say it out loud, I guess. We do see that Jhin is taking a significant chunk of damage from
Nautilus is
Buzz
definitely
Eggs.
looking for a hook of some kind here. I don't know if that's the right choice, but it is the fun choice. And at the end of the day, video games are about having fun. I know
Yeah.
we're trying to win, but sometimes it is really fun to do something silly.
A little bit of fun it needs to happen for a good environment to occur. But I was gonna say, unfortunately, on the speak of fun, it does look like our Valpo bot side is not having fun with a 9 to 17 CS difference. Every other lane though, at least is even if not slightly behind. We do see that the Wukong is slightly ahead in terms of farm, but we do see Talia having a little bit of fun hitting the poke. Not enough mana, I don't think, to really secure the kill, but that is gonna force Ahri out versus Talia, who can kind of stay around for a little bit longer. We do see that no vision is up.
We got a hook coming out from Nautilus, which is kind of what we were looking at, but we get a great route from Giovanna to kind of keep Diadem alive. And I was about to say it's hard to farm on Jim, no matter what. He's kind of one of the weirdest champs in the game to farm on, especially when you are up against Ziggs, who's probably one of the best characters at denying farm in bot lane.
Yeah, you just throw a Q, you throw some magical bombs, and magically feels like any ADC's health just like disappears quickly.
But we do see this game, it's a little bit of a reversal of how it was top lane last game, where last game we had almost complete dominance from Dreadful in most of the laning phase, but although he's up on CS still, it's a little bit less of a stomp top lane. The top laner switch looks to be paying off for Tiffin here.
I say 100% agree. We also do see that while about even in terms of health, Aatrox is technically slightly ahead in terms because they still have their potion. We do see that the enhanced Q does look like it gets interrupted. And as we quickly take a look at just general gold for everybody, basically about even 200 gold overall bonus. towards Valpo Esports, but again, just write that off as a few CS. We do see that Jin did make himself around
Yeah,
pretty
Jin
even.
Diadem's doing a good job of farming his way back into the game here.
We do see the Wukong just
Good job,
poking
Diadem.
fun. Yes, good job, Diadem. We do see the Wukong poking a little bit of fun outside, just trying to clear out vision in preparation for Dragon. We do see that Super Bear is backing for this, so unless they have some sort of vision to confirm it, which they do because of the Gromp or the Scuttle Ward that Wukong was on. Wukong is going to start taking this dragon, and this one is Cloud.
And while we're in, so Tiffin is going to get this dragon most likely. They just have the early game dominance. They have the wave push bot lane. But with this little lull of activity, chat's favorite player is Jovino with 1 vote. So congratulations.
Jovina already quickly winning the adoration of the fans, even though it's her first game for Valpo Esports.
But this is a debut game. This is a debut game for
Jovina.
For our freshmen, so we can get them up to 100% win rate if we manage to take this one.
Oh, we do see
we do see a rotation up from mid lane, and Aatrox is going to ult. Cassante is going all out, trying to keep him in place. We're going to burn Aatrox's flash. Oh, and we see Vi up here. That's first blood for Valpo. That's a great play by Valpo. Oh, and it looks like we're going to get Wukong too. Huge.
With honestly a frame perfect W.
That is an amazingly executed tower dive from Valpo, right off the back of getting 3 grubs. So top lane all of a sudden is looking a lot rougher for Tiffin. If Valpo can kind of manage to turn this into like a 5 or a 6 grub game, that would be a huge advantage for Valpo.
I say 100% agree. We do see that Aatrox did back in his. We do see sorry, as we got multiple things going our way now. Bot side, neither side still hitting level 6. Level 6 would probably have been a kill in either direction, probably leaning a little bit more towards Tiffin. We are seeing that now that top side has a slight advantage now with that extra kill from Super Bear. But once again, we are seeing Jakimbo slightly ahead. And so with Grubs down and Dragon up in 3 minutes, which again just so happens to be another Infernal Dragon.
Infernal.
All right, I asked you last game, and I'll ask you again, Vector. What dragon?
This game we 100% want Ocean Soul. Ocean Soul would be the best thing we could get here. Between like Ziggs, Ahri, like Ocean Soul would be so good here because both of these teams kind of want to take long fights. Like, unless they hit a crazy wombo combo where they put everybody in a bounce house with Aatrox and Wukong, just everybody getting knocked up all over the place, that would be one way to end a fight pretty quick. But I think what's more likely is they're going to look for poke, especially with this Ziggs, and Ocean Soul would be really good for that. But we have 4 members of Valpo on the bot side, and I'm thinking we're going to see Talia ult in a couple seconds, and it's going to be really scary if you're standing under that bot side turret.
And it looks like we do see Valpo Esports going in. Vi does have the ult. Jakimbo's ult is unavailable for this fight, but we do see...
we don't even need it. We don't even need it. And that's going to need to be a flash from Super Bear, but he didn't have it up. He didn't have it up. We forgive him.
We are going to see that. We are going to see the counter run by Ahri, which didn't lead to...
Didn't play out quite so well. And the kill on Super Bear went to Nautilus again. So Arctic Bird, big fan of getting the first kill on
Valpo Esports. Which in this case, I would much rather if you were a Valpo Esports fan, for the Nautilus to take a kill over the Ziggs.
Over Ziggs, because Ziggs getting kills early just makes life miserable.
I was gonna say, looking at both, our next thing is our next.
I'm thinking he's about to go all in here. I'm thinking that Aatrox is gonna get all in and die.
Well, you are exactly right. Like I wasn't gonna say anything.
Aatrox got all in and died.
We are gonna see though.
But Chance is getting
Chance. But we do see Super Bear.
Super Bear just got beat up and his lunch money got stolen on his blue buff.
So we are gonna, that unfortunately is probably going to sour a little bit of Valpo Esports' idea of probably trying to take grubs.
Grubs
that are
aren't
not
up for another 14 seconds, and Super Bear's already running back. I don't see him right now, but there's probably determination in his heart to take these grubs.
Yeah, we see Wukong on it. We do know that at this point, Ari, Wukong was able to obtain that kill, so kind of making it even.
Oh, and Super Bear is running it back against the Wukong. Oh, he's going to steal this.
Okay,
he's going to steal
battle.
this.
Wukong does win the smite
battle. He did not steal it. Oh, Super Bear was fighting a clone for a second, but the rest of Valpo, and the rest of Tiffin is showing up.
We are seeing it is a 4v3.
That's going to get Jakimbo's flash out, so Tiffin is going to play pretty well around these grubs and manage to make it 3v3 grubs this game.
Unfortunately, not what Valpo Esports would have wanted to see. Quite honestly, Super Bear, even though Super Bear and Vi are at least slightly tied, if not Super Bear has a slightly better item set. You already lost in the engage once. The trade-off to probably just either go trade Dragon for grubs would have probably been a more decent one on Valpo Esports' part, just because you already knew that 2 of them were topside. And Aatrox does not have his enhanced DPF. For what it's worth, Dreadful also doesn't. But we also know that Dreadful versus Aatrox are able to hold Dreadful is able to more than hold his own against the Aatrox.
Yeah, so we see Dreadful kind of hitting his stride, saving his unstoppable for when Aatrox is going to use his chain. But we do see we are behind an item in the jungle. I will say Vi is a pretty good champion to be behind on an item, because at the end of the day, you can still press R on the enemy AD carry, which is really all you need out of Vi. You don't need much else.
Yeah, you don't need much else, but obviously...
I mean, it's nice to have other stuff. It's certainly more fun to beat a Vi with more stuff.
It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch as you enhance punch, and you just absolutely...
Yeah, you just shred somebody.
20% of their max health with a single...
Dragon is spawning. And it looks like Super Bear is going to be taking him back, hopefully for an item. I would guess he can buy an item right now. Yep, and we're going to see... what is that one called?
Sundered Sky. And Jakimbo racking up CS. We do see that...
If Dreadful hits this Q, he's going to all-in him, and Aatrox is going to die again. But he doesn't. That's okay.
And even just looking at topside, we do see that it was just an absolute take by Tiffin for second drag, and you got what you wanted. Ocean Soul is the soul that's going to be presented to Tiffin and Valpo for this game. We do see a potential dive coming in on the bot side. We do see
this is 100% going to be a tower dive, and yeah, classic Wukong knockup from Tiffin, and we're going to see a tower dive top lane as well. It's taken a long time for them to actually track down the Lux, and Wukong's going to go down as a result, and I think we're going to trade top turret for bottom turret here. And with Rift Herald up in 20 seconds, I'm thinking that Valpo's going to try and take this on spawn.
I would say, I also, not me forgetting that Ziggs can just delete a turret under 25% health with the W. So we are going to see a slightly better that does actually that box genuinely saves.
Dreadful is no thoughts, head empty, beating his head against this turret. He's not going to stick it out to the end though. I'm kind of disappointed.
He might be able to. No, he'll be.
He's going to do it. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. He's going to get the turret. All right, and Dreadful manages to get his first tower of the game tonight. But Wukong is going to try and jump scare Super Bear here.
Looks like it's going to be a smite battle.
It's going to be a smite fight. The eye is going to be a little weird. Oh, and it gets stolen by Tiffin. You really got to watch out for the eye in those smite fights. It can make a huge difference. And a couple members of Valpo are going to go down here.
Yovana looks like possibly going to try to be getting away, but Yovana taking slightly more damage from...
Herald's smite fights, it's all about the eye. You really have to pay attention to who's going to hit the eye, because it looks like there was a little bit of a miscommunication possibly on Valpo between Yovana hitting the hitting the eye when Superman might not have been ready to smite. But it's first game of the season. Those things will get ironed out in later games. Lots of practice time to go this season.
Yep. Both teams have definite things. I think even from just looking at this first game and a half, there is things they'll be focused on in their upcoming practices. But once again, kind of just taking a look at the landscape of the game, Tiffin is starting to kind of run the show a little bit in terms of gold, up about 2,800 from Valpo Esports, up 2 dragons. Grubs are even at 3, but we did see that the Rift Herald was taken by Tiffin, and then obviously crashed into that mid taking out up to mid tier 2 on Valpo's side. Almost a kind of a parallel to last game, in where Valpo was able to take Rift early and was able to get the first 2 towers of mid. Now we see it's the other way this time.
Yeah, I'm thinking that to stabilize this game, Valpo really does need to take another turret, preferably mid. Like, if Valpo can take mid tower, things will become a lot more even. But right now, they need to stabilize and try and play for late game, because we do have some pretty strong late game champs. Like Cassante, late game, classic. I would say Cassante's kind of like Cassante's kind of synonymous with late game dominance. Like, he becomes almost like an immovable object late game. So tanky. And with Aatrox building lethality, it's going to be pretty difficult for anybody on this team to damage Dreadful. It's just going to be up to Valpo to play around their tank, stay behind him, let him be their protector, their bulwark against the darkness, so to speak, and be able to get those kills while staying safe behind him.
100% agree. And this is something where in Valpo Esports, seeing the Lux pick, while really good, we will see that the Lux will be able to kind of fully become I don't want to say a full champion, because Lux being piloted by Yovana has been doing really well. The only problem is Lux purely does a lot of damage with a little bit of extra utility, and so seeing that.
Oh, and there's an invisible Wukong coming in for a knockup, but Valpo does do a good job of getting out of the way. Ziggs lands a pretty big bomb on Valpo. We see the teleport come out from Dreadful, so Aatrox is kind of left to his own devices top lane, and it looks like Jakimbo's going to back to try and stop that. Tiffin's engaging on Dreadful. It looks like Valpo manages to push them back for now.
But we are going to see that. We're going to see the Unleashed TP from Jakimbo. Jakimbo probably trying to look to make a little something out of this. We are going to see the Ziggs bomb away, but we are going to see the Nautilus beating.
And I'm thinking Cassante's going in. He's going all in. We see the sniper activate for Valpo. We're chunking out Nautilus. Oh, Cassante's going all out. Takes down the Aatrox. We've got Vi in the backline. He's trying to get everybody. Wukong in the backline. We get Ahri super low. Ziggs super low as well. That is a good turnaround for Valpo.
It's a good turnaround.
I think that this dragon and maybe mid turret is just what Valpo needs to try and get back into this game.
100% agree.
If they can take it. This is kind of a slow take without their ADC here. And even if their ADC was here, Jin is not known for his objective taking abilities.
I was gonna say, don't write Jin off too much. Jin's off to the side. It just looks like Jin had static shiv as first item, so Jin is not doing the Jin damage quite yet.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, again, a successful turnaround by Valpo Esports for that engage, turning into a 4v4 then a 4v5, and then a both ways split 5v5 both sides. Looking just at the gold here for a second. Dreadful up about 1k gold over the enemy Aatrox. Vi is down around 1600 gold, about half an item. We do see Ahri is keeping
pretty even on gold in mid lane, and a pretty large deficit in the bot lane between both players. So Valpo is down bot lane and jungle, but overall the difference isn't too insurmountable for Valpo.
And are we gonna see a repeat of last? Are we gonna see a repeat of last game? And we aren't gonna see an exact repeat, but we do see that there are 3.5 people right now all trying to collapse on Dreadful, realizing that Dreadful is the threat. We do see Nautilus. Nautilus just now has their Nautilus just now has ults up, but we do see it's a kind of a 4v3 right now with
Wukong just popped ult on nothing.
Did he?
Yeah.
That
So
must
that,
have
if I don't know if Valpo saw that, but that could definitely be pretty useful information for Valpo if they did.
100% agree, especially because Baron is up right now, and Ari is gonna have enhanced TP up soon, but she doesn't have it up yet. We do have to watch as Jakimbo does have a pretty low mana bar.
Jakimbo's low on mana, and I think Ari's 1v1 potential is better than Talia, especially because Talia is able, Ari is able to dodge out of the way of a lot of Talia's stuff. And Tiffin is kind of continuing their reign over Valpo's topside jungle. It's been kind of rough in Valpo's topside jungle this game.
I was gonna say 100% agree, and I was gonna say even looking through some stuff like this, realizing that I saw that Vi even tried to win that smite fight against the Wukong, and now we've seen, I think throughout the course of both of these games on Valpo Esports' end, 2 or 3 very close calls, if not missed smites. So Valpo Esports once again is kind of needing to find their footing.
We need to get our mojo back. We need to get our mojo back.
The mojo does need to get back.
Down about 2 point, right around 3,000 gold.
Right around 3K.
The gold lead is growing for Tiffin, which is a Valpo fan you really don't want to be seeing right now.
You really don't. Yeah, I 100% agree. You just don't want to see that gold.
Ziggs is alone mid lane pretty much. I mean, Nautilus is down in bot side jungle.
The only problem is Valpo Esports doesn't have a lot of good vision on the board.
Yeah, vision's tricky when the game looks like this.
And against Nautilus versus Lux, Nautilus just has a safer transaction. Oh. We do see a potential Q3 trying to go out on the Cassante for the Ari. We do see as it looks like that there might be a play trying to be pushed up, but Ari's just gonna push back safely. Vi and Lux on Vision. Jakimbo just once again clearing out the Wave's bot side, and Wukong clearing Vision. Just again, both sides trying to determine what the next action step is. It looks like Valpo Esports might be trying to do a potential at least Baron Vision clear, if not Baron rush. But the problem is, it's just both sides are. Tiffin is a lot more communicative this map. No people being off on the other side, just allowing everyone to kind of be in their own. Everyone's a lot more communicative, at least on Tiffin's part. Valpo Esports just continuing to keep their communication up nice and strong as they always do.
Yeah, the big challenge here for Valpo, even though Valpo's KDAs actually do look pretty good across the board, is trying to keep that mental strong. That's what a lot of people kind of glance over in these kind of game states. Like, the biggest enemy right now is keeping that mental strength. Like, that's going to be super important.
Biggest enemy is yourself. If you think you can't do it, you can't do it. But if you think you can, or you want to try to push for something, you can. We are going to look as we're going to see the slight poke come out. It is a 4v5. It is like a 3v5 right now. Aatrox is topside, but Aatrox does have their TP available to help if this team fight does start looking like it's going to become a team fight. Ari is bot side, and we do see that we do see Valpo Esports is clearing Vision in the river. Someone is going to either have to go deal with that Aatrox or something else.
Valpo is going to try and get this dragon. It looks like they're going to get it. Tiffin's going to back off, and they're going to look to play for Baron. Their Ari's TPing for the Baron. Valpo takes their second dragon, which that's certainly one way to try and get back in the game, but it would be a problem if Tiffin were to get this Baron. But we do see the Cassante TPing in topside, but the rest of the team just isn't there yet. So they need to be very careful about how they play this engage. Oh, Wukong is split off from the rest of the team, so they're going to look for a quick pick on Wukong. He dashes back over the wall, but now it's just a classic team fight. Wukong's coming around for the side for a huge knockup. That's like textbook what you want to see on Wukong.
We are going to see, though, that the Ari Dreadful trade. We are seeing we are seeing Jakimbo going in. We do see the Vi going to try to finish off the Wukong. Unfortunately, is not able to. Valpo Esports taking a 4-1 trade. However, their Wukong is low, but it looks like that they are going to at least try for Dragon. We are going to see if Jakimbo is still alive.
But Jakimbo's still here, and he might try and poke him off. I don't know how successful he will be, because this is quite scary.
And we are going to see the attempted flash out, but unfortunately was not enough. Alpha Esports does get aced, and as... Sorry, I was not expecting that final burn damage from the Nautilus. Nautilus does get traded out, making it a 2v5. 3 members of Tiffin, 3, maybe 4. I can't tell if Ari was back in time to receive that Baron buff. It was like frame perfect. She is not looking at the recall animation, looking at the home guard animation. So Valpo Esports did take Dragon. It is their second ocean. It is their second ocean dragon that they have taken, but at the cost of a Baron was not the best play, especially the mismatch coordination of that teleport from Dreadful.
Yeah, that was just a little bit awkward because you, like I was saying earlier, you really need the Cassante here standing in front, like getting up in the team's faces. But when you're split up from your main tank like that, things get a little bit rougher, especially because last game we had the Rel from the Law, which is a secondary tank who can kind of soak up that damage in the absence of your main tank. But without that there, it's just a little bit rougher.
And I was gonna say, just once again, we are seeing that we're seeing a 1-3-1 from Tiffin trying to push in. Valpo Esports is continuing to try to figure out like what the next step is. Again, that gold lead from Tiffin increasing to right around 6,000.
Valpo's current objective is survive. I think if they can wait out this Baron and not lose too much, it won't be the end of the world. But it looks like Dreadful is getting 4-man top lane, which not a lot of people out there who are getting out of that one.
Unfortunately not. But we do see Wukong did burn ultimate, and Wukong genuinely... Wukong is the biggest concern of the Tiffin team right now. Figuring out a way to shut down the Wukong is really a way to shut down Tiffin right now, because Tiffin, they do have Tiffin, 6 of Tiffin's 16 kills. We do see the Lux Q into Jin W just for that elongated stun on Ari, but we do see the tier 2 tower of tier 2 and inhib turret of Valpo Esports has fallen. And then once again, as we see Tiffin just kind of taking the back and taking their gold. Valpo Esports is gonna have to, as you kind of said earlier, might have to look for a fun and funky maneuver to try to help get themselves really back into the game, which is unfortunate that it's at that state, but you know as well as I do, League, anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
One bad team fight with 30-second plus respawn timers can really spell doom to what would have been easy victory by the other team.
So objective bounties are active for Valpo, and there is one shutdown available, but with that said, Valpo is down 7,000 gold currently, which does not look good. The fund budget is running low. So the kind of area where we can make just those silly plays is shrinking. You're kind of running out of troll budget for that. So we're going to have to try and run a tight ship for the rest of the game, I think. And there are just wards all over this jungle. Like this is like, that is scary.
It's the nightlife. It's the nightlife, and when you're sitting in the library, all the lights are going to be turned on, and you get told the library's about to close.
It's like being an animatronic in Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh no!
Like we're just checking the cams.
But are they running out of power? We do see Ovida getting caught out, and unfortunately, absolutely deleted by the Wukong Nautilus. That is going to look to be a pretty easy dragon now for Tiffin.
There's some Bush warriors on Tiffin. This has kind of been their strategy for this series so far. Is just catch our bot laners out in the bushes. So I'm thinking that next game, our bot laners should just never walk near any bush.
I wish that was a lot easier said than done, but the problem is with Ocean, it does spawn a few extra bushes around the map, making it a little bit harder to make sure that vision is grabbed. We are seeing the Talia kind of wait in the bush, hoping that Wukong will overextend, but Wukong. Well, we do see Talia nearly getting caught out by the not Q. Talia playing it relatively risky. Baron power play is no longer available, with Baron being up in a minute 30. Probably this next objective that Apple Esports is looking at. And also something I wanted to say back during that team fight that I don't think a lot of people are realizing is Jin is known for doing so much damage with his ultimate, especially that fourth shot. But if we look at the two items that Jin currently has completed, it's Static Shiv and RFC, both of which are not necessarily known for increasing the damage.
I think the strategy there is you're trying to kind of match Ziggs's poke, because if you throw out a Q with those items, like your Q is going to do a lot of damage to the people that it hits. But that mid turret is getting low, and I think breaking open mid turret would do a lot for Valpo here. That would kind of just reduce this map movement dominant. Like, look at these wards. Like, this is just such a hard uphill battle for Valpo, because when they're walking into your jungle like that and just warding it like they own the place, that is not a good sign.
And they should never be doing it to your map. And again, with that kind of dominance being held, Tiffin continuing to have about a 7k gold over Valpo Esports. We do see Cassante looking to at least try to contest
I think
this.
Dreadful is going to try and 1v5 these four. Okay, he didn't, but I could have seen it happening.
I was more looking at, I think it was just the contention of blue buff, but again, Cassante or Wukong
It is tricky when you don't have smite. It is a little tricky. Oh no.
We're going to see, alright, we're going to see that the Q goes out, but again, Valpo Esports has kind of seen this a few times now, of just being as you said,
those
bush
bushes. Tiffin's control of bushes has been really good. I know I'm saying that in like a joking way, but being able to control those bushes like that, especially with Ocean Soul, where the bushes are even bigger, that is a big problem to deal with. Like, from our perspective, it's like, oh, why'd they walk towards that bush? But genuinely, that is like out of nowhere to deal with if you're in the pilot seat.
And it's not like Valpo Esports hasn't been playing up wars. We looking at the vision score, which is something you really don't talk about too much, but in this case it's becoming prevalent. The Yovana Lux having 61 vision score, but compared to the Nautilus is 89 at 32 minutes. Just again goes to show, just like, while vision is important for both sides, we see Wukong again already clearing vision in Baron.
Oh, Valpo's moving his 4
We see
somewhere.
a 4-man stack. We see a 4-man stack. I think
I think we're headed to Narnia.
We're heading somewhere.
We're heading to Gromp.
We're heading
to
Gromp.
Gromp. We 4-manned Gromp.
See, in terms of looking, we do see that Jakimbo does.
We are definitely posturing for Baron here. I think this is a vision clearing operation. We got 1 ward, 2 wards out of the jungle maybe. 4 players topside for both teams, and it is that topside 1v1 in the bot lane. Cassante is going to try and blow up this tower.
We just see the unfortunate tower hit being given to the Cassante. We are going to see, though, that it looks like that without the lack of vision. We
are going for a vision play on Baron. Valpo is clearing the wards around Baron. I'm thinking this is kind of a sign they might be looking for a Baron. It's definitely a lot harder. Like, both of these top laners could TP. I think they would honestly just stare each other in the face and TP top lane. I don't think either of them would really try too hard to stop the other's back if they were teleporting. But we are going to see Dreadful try and bully Aatrox out of that TP. Aatrox not too happy about that. They're fighting now. Yeah, but things have kind of stalled out mid lane. Like, there's not a lot happening right now, which is really exactly what Valpo Esports wants. You want to stem the bleeding and not let things get any more difficult than they already were.
I was gonna say, even like, to your point about stemming the bleeding, if we see the gold lead, we're at about 6k. We're at a 6k gold deficit instead of 7. This does go to show, for any of you watching that are always looking like, if you're behind, what do you do? The number one thing to always focus on is always minion kills, because a kill by itself is on paper worth 15 gold. So being able to get 2 waves killed and to deny your enemy laner, that is a kill equivalent's worth of gold. And
The gold lead has not really changed at all in these last few minutes, which could be good or bad depending how you look at it. It's not getting any better for Valpo, but just Jakimbo's in trouble here, but they are going to kind of evaporate some of these Tiffin members. Burning flashes, Super Bear is going to go down, and Aatrox is in the back line. That is scary. Jakimbo flies across the wall into the Dragon Pit, gets taken out by Aatrox.
A bad blast cone.
This is soul for Tiffin if they decide to go for it. So I'm thinking that Valpo might try and contest this a little bit, but it looks like they decided not to. They might look to take mid turret, but I don't think the push is there for that.
The push isn't there, but genuinely they could have just had Dreadful absorb.
Yeah,
the few turret hits.
They could have done that. I'm not sure how that would have ended for them though, with the kind of chase potential they have with Ahri. Like if Ziggs hits a clutch ult on them, they're all gonna explode. But Tiffin is gonna look for Baron, and I don't think Valpo has the ability to contest him here. So things are looking grim.
Things are unfortunately not looking the best for Valpo Esports as we look for about a 7,500 gold lead, probably increase to about 9,000 after the end of this Baron being taken. Yeah, right around 9K. Doing the quick math. Unfortunately, this does mean that Ocean Soul was also grabbed by Tiffin. However,
that makes this Jhin build a lot weaker, which that is a little unfortunate.
Yeah, I'll say the Jhin build unfortunately was not the strongest to see, and now we see it go even weaker. However, something to still be said is that in 5 minutes, we do have Elder. The game state is one that Elder is able to be grabbed. And pause, excuse us for 1 second on the technical difficulty. But with Elder existing, Elder can change the gameplay completely at the true execute range of 30%.
With the way that levels and gold these waves are looking, because Tiffin's about to have 3 waves crashing on Valpo's base, I'm not totally sure Valpo's going to stick around to this Elder Dragon.
They might not, but at the same time,
we can hold out hope. Hold out hope.
As you said earlier, the very idea of just having a strong mental fortitude and just realizing it's like it might be bleak. There has to be something to happen, but there's a reason why power plays and incredible outplays happen from both sides. We do see the Jhin and we do see the Ziggs all just trying to help clear the wave, taking mid turret. We do see that Dreadful and Aatrox are just kind of having their own friendly one-on-one. Really not kind of where Dreadful needs to be. Tiffin is trying to push, knocking out 2 or 3 Valpo's inhibs. And it's again just kind of continuing.
I mean, this is a late game Aatrox versus K'Sante 1v1. Like, K'Sante's going down little by little, but not fast enough that Aatrox can get any reasonable damage on the turret.
Aatrox with his absurd lifesteal and Omni Vamp just makes it so that it's gonna be a slow whittle. Valpo's base starting to lose a few
We've
bricks.
lost 2 inhibs. So things are looking a little scary.
Things are looking a little scary.
I'm thinking we're gonna see Aatrox get collapsed on.
We do see the Jhin ult. The Jhin does get.
We see a stopwatch come out for Jakimbo just in time for that Ziggs ult to come down.
We just see the Aatrox get shut down.
This is a very well played team fight from Tiffin, and I think Dreadful is gonna go down here in a couple seconds.
Dreadful's gonna go down, but not without
he's putting up a good fight. He's honestly kind of putting on a clinic on how to play K'Sante right now.
He is, but
I don't think that's gonna save his base from the rest of Tiffin's team.
Unfortunately, yeah, K'Sante alone at this point is able to fight.
He's going ham on Nautilus though. But that was a valiant effort from Valpo, and we'll see you guys for Game 3 in a couple minutes.
All right, so we are back with game 3 of the GLEC Valpo v Tiffin. Score is now tied 1-1, bringing us into our third game. Just really quickly looking at the three bans from each side before we start looking into the picks. We see once again Tiffin banning the Amumu, the Jarvan 4, and the Milio, and we see Valpo banning the Poppy, the Ziggs, and the Wukong. Wukong specifically giving Valpo kind of a tough time last time.
We see Zach from Tiffin, which is kind of disrespectful, as that is Super Bear's favorite champion, and I think that's messed up. I think that's messed up.
The
But
take,
we are going to see Viego, who is really fun.
and
So he wants to play Zach. He's going to get some time on Zach this game, which I think is really just what he wants.
yeah, just
That's
in a
probably
little
why I picked him.
in a roundabout way that he was able to get Zach. But also, I'm pretty sure is Viego a decent counter overall to Zach? I'm not too familiar with jungle matchups.
It depends how many items you're at. I think early game, Zach kind of dunks on you because you don't do enough damage, but once you get Bork, it's way easier.
Okay.
So we see Ezreal from Valpo, who's very good at following up on engage. Ezreal is really, really good at that. But I really hope Valpo gets some strong engage out of support, which we do have the law coming back in for this game, I believe, and he loves his engage champions. Yeah, he loves his engage champions, and because playing Viego as the only engage on your team, I would rather ram my head against the wall.
It's it's a rather risky encounter. We are going to see Tiffin responding to Ash. We are seeing Tiffin respond to the Ash. Um, respond with the Ash, my bad, into the Ezreal, which is an overall decent pick. Just the extra slow isn't going to matter as much to the Ezreal blinks. We are going to see the Ari once again on the Tiffin end.
I'm gonna start praying now for Valpo to pick some really strong front line, because if you dash in as Viego only to get hit with the Ari charm and explode, like that's just sad.
You're
That's
gonna be
just really
sad.
frustrating.
Well, your hopes have been dashed a little bit longer since we see that
Okay,
Jakimbo choosing the Syndra.
but this is the Jakimbo Syndra,
So
so that's a good pick. I like that one.
it's the Jakimbo pass.
Yeah,
Let's say.
yeah.
All right, looking to these final bans once again, it does look like a potential four-way topside ban. And
Yeah.
thank gosh, I said something because we have a Braum ban.
Braum ban is nice because I believe Braum can block the Syndra ult because they're projectiles, right? So that's going to be a nice ban, especially since we did see Braum earlier, and Ash Braum is quite a good combo. So that's a good smart ban from Valpo.
We do know that our the law does like to play Braum though, so probably hurt them a little bit to choose it. But we do see the Jax ban top side, so we are for you top laners in chat, their top lane still is getting some love in terms of its bans. Might not always get the love and attention it deserves with ganks, but that's just how League is sometimes.
I really hope the law goes for Rel again. That's really what I'm hoping they pick. I hope that nobody hears this from the opposing forces because we are live right now. But I hope that they pick Rel. I hope we get to play Rel.
I think we might have enough of a stream delay where in the next 17 seconds they're not going to be able to choose row unless they were already
If Rel
wanting
gets
to.
banned,
It was a divine
it
intervention.
was if I'm mad.
Well, we do see the dot pick once again.
Thank
Just a
God.
overall strong pick. We see the Darius ban. We see
Pick Rel, please. Oh, okay. Alistar's fine too.
we see the we see
Alistar's
the cow,
fine.
the cow and the jumper both together. So that does
Because
mean this does mean that Valpo is going to be able to counterpick the top side, which we don't really talk that much about. Ooh, we see the Tarek
Tarek is
pick.
really, really good into these. This I will say, Valpo's front line is a little squishy this game. Like we're gonna need somebody top lane who really, really brings some beef to the team. Like I know we have like Riven.
If it's an interesting
That's an
choice.
interesting pick. Anyways, um, we're gonna need some more beef than just Alistar in the top lane because Viego. If you fall, okay, Garen's a good pick, but if you fall even a little behind on Viego,
It's
not that
really
I don't
hurting.
think that Super Bear will. He's very skilled at Viego, but if you fall behind on Viego, it feels like you are piloting a wet paper towel because you will just try to W in for a stun and just explode.
And I was gonna say with with the final draft being chosen, we see the Garen pick by Valpo. Whether you like Garen, whether you don't like him, you have to admit that he is just kind of a stable, good champion, just like the Wind brothers Yasuo and Yone, which we didn't actually see in this draft at all, which is a pleasant surprise as a mid laner now, as a former mid laner and now kind of just a flex role. Nice to see nice to see none of the two Win brothers, but that's enough besides the point. Overall, Valpo does look like to have kind of like a more, I would say, overall balanced team. We see that it's going to be the Garen, Garen Viego, Syndra, and then Alistar as on one side, and then Tiffin has their own team comp. Riven's gonna be I would say the wild card choice here. If Riven starts getting ahead, she's gonna become really dangerous, especially with her 7.5 flips that happen in between any
Yeah.
run rotation. Vector, do you have anything to add about this draft before we take a quick break before game three?
I think Alistar is a really good pick. I think the law may have activated his mind reading powers to know that they were going to pick Tarek because if he can just headbutt away the invincible Tarek, that is a big help for those team fights because Zac, Riven, and Tarek up in your face, and if you get Ari up close range too, all invulnerable, that is like a recipe for a bad day because they are just going to beat you up.
I was gonna say, with that being up, one quick question for you. So obviously, Garen's Garen has the silence. If you silence Tarek while he's preparing ult, does that cancel it, or does it go
I
through
think
anyways?
probably. I think probably. Let me double check.
We'll double check that during the break and get back to you guys as we get to the draft. But we had the final game coming up, Tiffin versus Valpo for Game 3 of the first match of the GLEC conference, and we will catch you all in a few short minutes.
right, and we're starting off this game. Game 3. Going down to the wire here. Valpo Esports is stacking mid lane. I wonder where we're going. Oh, and Super Bear's taking the long way around. If you're in chat, send your favorite emote. We need some emotes in the chat. But we are going to be going in on
we're gonna see them go. We're gonna see them going in real fast, and we're gonna see a super quick. We're gonna see a super quick ability. No ults actually used on Valpo Esports decide to secure that first. Kill, leading Jakimbo to ES late. Wait, no. Did I flip? Am I flipped? Did I flip my script? I flipped my script. Never mind. Never mind.
Right. So Tarek did not burn flash there, but Valpo seems to think that he did. Oh, we're increasing the quality for you guys because we're big fans of our stream viewers. Thank you for coming out to support the team tonight.
I said, yeah. Thank you to our sponsor for allowing us to have such amazing.
Yeah, thank you to Rig Gaming for these awesome headsets and the headsets all our players are using right now.
So, but with that being said, I'm so used to a Jakimbo Ari, I completely neglected the fact that was towards Tiffin instead.
It's the bushes again.
It's Bush Gaming too.
Bush Gaming.
So again,
this is Bush Gaming 3. They were even doing it game 1. But this is this looks like a completely different bot lane from what we've seen other times. Like the way they're posturing, I think they definitely have the mental edge here. But you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say no. I 100% agree. It feels slightly different, but we are seeing Diadem still getting their CS, and once again Dreadful in the top lane, doing what Dreadful does best and negating CS and also getting his own.
Apule backed with their first blood kill to buy a Dark Seal against Jakimbo. But we'll see how that works out for them here.
It'll work out great, or it will work out not at all. Dark Seal loves to be situational, especially.
Dark Seal is one of the most feast or famine items you can buy in this entire game.
Dark Seal and Mage Eyes.
But yeah, this is a very, very scrappy top lane matchup. Both these characters have a lot of early game pressure. Riven with her 7-something dashes is able to just get on top of Garen and do a ton of damage with a nice stun. But Garen does have some crazy sustain in lane due to his passive. So I would say Garen is favored in this matchup, but Riven definitely has some outplay potential. And Viego's showing bot lane. Tiffin does have vision on him, so they're going to know to back off a little bit. And we're going to secure the bot crap for Valpo.
I was going to say, with that being said, we also see that the enemy Zac did not actually complete their full camp clear versus Viego did. So Zac will still be in the jungle for a little bit longer, opening the opportunity for Super Bear to kind of potentially make a play. And continuing on to seeing, once again, we do see Jakimbo being slightly ahead in CS, however, slightly offset by the Dark Seal Ari. And again, just looking at the gold. Oh, once again, we see another quick little combo. Oh, we see
an engaged top lane. Oh, that's a good dodge from Riven there. But Zac is going to look to get in here as well to get a piece of this action.
And it's a little scary with the wave. Wave does a lot of damage early game. We see a very
They're looking to crash a huge wave top lane,
which would be very detrimental to Dreadful's CS count. Again, Dreadful.
But this guy knows how to CS. I think he's been doing it for like 8 years or something.
Yeah, you're a master at CS. But miraculously, whenever CS drills happen, it always feels like that I do less CS. Or I do more CS in my drills than happens in game.
Well, yeah, you don't have somebody trying to stop you in the drills. That's definitely a big factor, especially when it's Riven, who can just kind of jump on you at a moment's notice. But we are going to see a little skirmish in the jungle as Zach tries to get ahead on Superbear's camps once more. That was a big thing last game. Is PL3B was all over Superbear's jungle, which is super hard to deal with as the jungler. Both from like a gameplay and a mental standpoint. Like when you walk back to your jungle and there's nothing there, that is just kind of crushing.
Especially so early in the game when one camp can make a really big determination between level 5 and level 6. Once again, just kind of noting the gold lead. As we've kind of been always talking about, and it will always be a staple to talk about. Ahri is up only 50 gold compared to Syndra, and when we were saying earlier, it genuinely does matter every single CS. Ahri got even the first blood bonus, and Jakimbo is able to make it about even. We do see that Riven is level 5 and Garen is level 6.
We do have 3 top lane for Valpo, so we're going to try and 3v1 this Riven, who did just get ult. It's looking like this is going to be a success, so that's going to be a nice play for Valpo, helping to offset that gold lead a little bit, and I think they're going to make a play for Grubs. They're going to trade Grubs for Dragon, which I think that makes a lot of sense here, because it's one Chemtech Drake, which is, I mean, that's alright, but the split push advantage you get here, Garen is one of the strongest split pushers in the entire game. And getting those grubs on Garen just lets him melt turrets. Especially when he hits his Q and then a Demolish. I don't know if he has Demolish. Is there a way we can check runes?
Looking real fast. I know we can at least see they have Kong. They have the.
Yeah, I mean he has Kong. I mean,
we'll see.
Bear with Riot. It's a small indie company. We can't really expect them to have all these features for
have
us.
Everything.
They're working hard for us.
Have everything we'd ever want to, and then more. We'll see if we can. If I see something that would like
Yeah, that would indicate he has.
I think he might be running.
He's got to have green secondary.
I mean, there's nothing else he would.
Is he blue secondary? Okay, blue's fine too. Blue's fine too. No Demolish though. You don't get the dopamine hit of the gigantic tower damage.
And also the gigantic gold plating numbers as you
Exactly. See. Like when you just blow up the turret late game with a Q. Like if you wait for your Demolish proc and then Q at the same time.
Well, we are going to
top 10 league experiences.
We are going to see just a slight skirmish. It does look like it's about
even. That's some good damage from the wave. Oh, and we're going in bot lane.
Yeah, we see the slight knockup and not too much.
Valpo's gonna back off a little bit.
But Valpo Esports again, just doing chip damage, just doing their chip, and again they with the power of minion kills, Valpo Esports is slightly ahead in gold, about 200.
I was about to mention that Valpo has managed to farm their way ahead in this game. We have quite a large CS gap in the mid lane. I think that's where most of this gold differential is coming from.
But even for, I would say, what is kind of the weaker early game matchup of Ashe versus Ezreal, Ezreal and Diadem holding their own. Or I guess they're both the same person, so I can't say they. They're holding their own against the Ashe and the Taric. We do see
we do see Viego and Zach coming in, so this might be a 3v3. For Valpo in the bot lane here, but I would guess they'll back off seeing that Zach is here.
They're gonna back, yeah, and I would especially assume that Tiffin will probably back off after getting that. Oh, Tiffin still hasn't gotten that second plating yet. It's right there, but Tiffin's probably gonna hold out backing for a little while before we go.
I think they're gonna wait to take the second plating until the back is off, because you don't really want the jungler leeching off the plating gold from your ADC. But That Dark Seal's looking a little rough.
Dark Seal was
21 CS down with the Dark Seal collecting dust in your inventory.
Not real, yeah. But also, yeah, we will have to see what happens with that Dark Seal. Something I've also like on the topic of Dark Seal, the lanes are kind of stale right now. So Vector, just a little something for you to help me think about is how come we've never really. We don't see an AD equivalence, do we?
Fun fact, that actually did exist. It was called Sword of the Occult. I'll get back to this after this fight. Ahri is kind of trying to bully Super Bear off this Herald. Gonna have to ult over the wall. Ashe ult getting hit on Garen here. I think he's gonna have to try and get away, and he is going to get away. We're going to see Viego flash over the wall. There's 4 members of Tiffin top, and this is a well-executed tower dive from them, especially with that Terra gold.
Yeah,
that was very well played from Tiffin.
We do see that as all trying to help break that up. But unfortunately, a pretty decent play on Tiffin's end, taking probably at least 2 playdings. It does look like Syndra will trade at least 1, hopefully 2 for 3. But again, Tiffin doesn't have grubs right now, and it's really showing with just how slowly.
I'm thinking
the tower
Valpo is going to
damages.
try and run for these grubs. I think Valpo could really benefit from trying to get those grubs this game. And we're barely going to miss the kill on Ahri there, but we're going to get a lot of pressure mid lane from that. They're going to have to kind of back off the grubs, so that worked out all right for Valpo. Down a little bit of gold. The gold's back in favor of Tiffin, but the tower platings are doing a good job of keeping that more even. Oh, and we are fighting over grubs now. We've got quite a few people up here. First one going to Tiffin. It's very difficult to contest this, and it wouldn't surprise me if Valpo just backed off here.
And it looks like Valpo is just taking a safer option, just
backing off.
Grubs.
3 to 3 grubs. Nobody's gonna get the voidlings on tower this game, but we'd rather have that than everybody die and it be the same outcome.
Yes, or even trading even 1 kill for the same outcome. But it does look like Diadem made it very even in terms of turret. Play. We do see that the top lane has switched for Tiffin. Riven holding its own against Ezreal, which is it's slightly better in the top side, but slightly worse in the bottom. Just continuing to see in terms of jungle.
Garen's gonna have to do his best to just try and clear these waves with his spin to win activities.
Yes, the infamous Garen spin to win that feels like it does 1/3 of my health bar at any given point in time.
But back to Sword of the Occult, that actually did exist. And it was so abused by Smurfs who would take it on an assassin and then just steamroll the game in like 15 minutes. Because like you get a Zed, and if you're smurfing on Zed and you get a couple kills early, and you have your AD stacking like Dark Seal, you just blow people up. They had to remove it.
So that was why. But I mean, I guess they kind of brought back that stacking a little
with
bit
Hydra.
With Hydra, but also Hubris now, because Hubris now is an actual, it's a permanently stacking AD item, which you don't see it on too many champions, but champions like Nocturne, Zed, even Neferi a little bit.
That's a legendary item though, right?
Yes, yeah, it is.
If you get first blood on your Smurf Zed and they back and buy Sword of the Occult, that's just you snowball so easily. But we do have an Ocean Dragon up. And I'm thinking that Valpo's going to try and contest this one. I don't think they want to go down 2 drags again.
I don't think so. Again, it looks about even both sides in terms of the top side altercations with the funny words. We do see that the silences get off. We do see the Garen spinning to win, chunking the Riven's health bar. Both ults are up on both sides. Again, both of them being manaless champions does mean that abilities are just more on cooldown. We do see the Zac jump in, not finding anyone.
Syndra's kind of prowling on the top side, waiting for an opportunity. But Garen does have Stride Breaker, which into Riven is pretty brutal because your dashes all get shortened, and it is very, very difficult for you to escape Garen's reach after he slows you with that.
Let's say we see the Zac attempting.
Zac is going in on Valpo Esports, goes down low, but we do see the teleport from Garen.
We do.
That's an Ezreal hitting a couple.
We see the Terra Call trying to help. We see we do see that the Riven does knock out the Alistar. It's still at 4v4.
Valpo's gonna regroup and try. Oh, Jakimbo hitting huge damage on these guys.
We see that the Riven does also take out Super Bear. Garen is spinning. Garen nearly finishes, and Diadem, my bad, finishes the Riven off. But it is now a 2v3.
Jakimbo manages to find one, but Ahri with the TP to the Zac blob to keep him alive. That is dirty. That is dirty.
For half a second, I was like, wait, Ari was just in the team fight. Why
It
is
actually
she
does
TPing?
keep the Zac blob alive. It can't die while you're TPing to it. It's like you can Zonias for your teammate.
Which is really strong. However, this does mean that
It's a long cooldown.
Ari's
That's a long cooldown. But
it's longer than the Zhonya's,
that
but
is
that's
a
why.
big momentum push for Tiffin. Up about 1,000 gold now, getting a second dragon under their belt. Rift Herald is coming up, and how do you think Valpo might try and take this next fight so that it goes a little better than the last one?
I was gonna say, definitely something that I noticed that needed to happen, at least for Valpo Esports, was just communicating who the final callouts were going to be. I saw a lot of switching between the Zac, the Ari, the Ashe, and again, each one of them could have very easily been have been killed on their own. But the problem is communications with them between the team to figure out who was actually going to finish the kill, and because of that, I think Valpo Esports could have probably easily traded too. We do see Superbird gets caught up by the Ashe arrow and then the Zac ult as well. As missing the counter as the Zac does take another kill. It does look like we're just going to have a disengage from Diadem, and as we have the Ashe and Syndra kind of fighting, Ari did end up burning her ultimate, but it does look like that. Unfortunately, Tiffin is going to continue on with their assault of the objectives, very quickly ending them the Rift Herald.
Those long-range Ashe ults can really, really change the pace of the game. If you just all of a sudden have your teammate get taken out by an arrow, it disrupts your plan so much. And we see Zac burning Dreadful's flash in the top lane to avoid that surprise from Zac.
I was gonna say it also did look like that. Riven did use her ult, so it would have been a win for Dreadful versus Blue Light. Their Riven in this case, and it does look like because Dreadful's still playing it.
Yeah,
Safe.
I think
Not
he's
going
worried
back
that Zac might still be there. Because you don't want to go for a 2v1 against Zac and somebody else. That's just rough because he can lock you down so hard between his engage tool. He can like knock you out with his Q, and then he can ult on you again. And Riven can just beat you up the whole time. It's just rough.
It is Valpo Esports kind of need to figure out. Valpo Esports needs to communicate to figure out what their next power play is going to be in terms of objectives that are going to be up on the board. Dragon and Baron both up at basically the exact
same time.
But we do have Hextech Soul, which, for those of you who have tuned in last year, genuinely Hextech Soul I think is my personal favorite and one of the biggest, I would say on average, the biggest game-changing, not only because of the Hexgate rifts from across the map, but the ability of just getting Chain Lightning, additional CC. So for champions that don't really have a lot, like even Garen has his silence. That's about it, but giving Garen another source of slow is just just brutal.
In a scenario where Valpo gets a couple Hextech Drakes, that Drake is really strong on Viego. Because cooldown reduction and attack speed are basically that's what you want on Valpo, on Viego. Those are basically the only two stats you care about. It's like AD's okay, but those two stats is where you really are looking to get a lot of your power.
As I say, as we're looking here, Tiffin did drop Rift mid-side, but unlike last game, is not even able to fully take the tier 1 tower, let alone a tier 2. Valpo Esports being able to successfully defend against the onslaught that is what can feel like a charging Rift Herald. Ashe again just forcing Diadem to just keep playing safe and kind of take a tiny bit of poke damage. We are seeing though that while Super Bear is slightly behind in kills and does have a decent bit of deaths, is keeping pretty even and actually is slightly ahead in terms of CS. It does look like we might have a potential play going on in mid. We see a Zac potentially charging. We see a Zac trying to charge in. We see the Ezreal back out.
Tiffin's going to be able to farm down this tower. Valpo's turrets are looking pretty low right now, so with some coordinated pushes across the board, I think they'll be pretty easy for Tiffin to topple with some coordination. But if Valpo does group up, manages to kind of predict where they're going to be, that can definitely be changed. And Jimbo hitting huge damage on Ari right before the dragon spawns. What stack numbers are most important for Syndra?
I believe that it starts at 60 and every 20 after 60. And
Okay,
it just
so
goes in order.
a couple minutes ago he did ping that he was at 90 something.
92.
So 92. So that Syndra is starting to get big.
Yes, she is. Specifically seen the Q having a second charge, being able to be held. The W being able to pick up one of the orbs, and make sure that you can hold it a bit longer, and then the W at 100 having the wider radius, and I think even in the center doing true damage.
And we've officially hit 109.
109.
What level do you get to execute on your ult?
That is any level once you're at 120 splinters.
120. Okay, so he's gonna be there pretty soon.
Yeah, level 14. So I would assume that if Jakimba plays it well, which I know he will, either level 15 or even if a prolonged like poke fight happens, I would say it's gonna be up by the time the next objective. By the time a team decides to go for a fight, we are seeing that Tiffin is clearing the way, clearing the vision for Baron. Valpo we didn't even talk much about it because it happened so fast, but Valpo Esports was able to absolutely destroy that first Hextech Dragon, just allowing it to fall into the hands of Valpo Esports, kind of starting to bring up some of those extra passive stats that are very well appreciated by either side, but especially Valpo right now.
I think this game Valpo has done a better job of stemming the bleeding early. Because last game it felt like we kept slipping deeper off the cliff. But this game, Super Rare getting found by another ult. We're going to see the Ezreal ult go out, get some damage. Zach is chasing Viego around under that tower.
But it's not going to be. It's going to be interesting. We do see that the Syndra did TP to assist in this fight. We see incorrect priority targeting by Jakimbo. We're seeing if Diadem is able to find his way out, which unfortunately he's not, which does make this a 4-1 in terms of Tiffin to Valpo. However, Jakimbo is still alive, and as we saw earlier, the amount of poke damage that a good WEWQ combo can do is really strong.
Fighting Taric in these choke points is so hard too, because not only are you dealing with his ultimate that in a choke is gonna hit pretty much all your teammates most of the time, you also need to deal with his passive applying in a small area too. It's just rough to fight, especially in those bushes, which is one of the most confined spaces in the entire game.
Yeah, Tiffin playing well to the team's strengths. Specifically, on our end, it's a lot easier to tell, but that Super Bear was completely in vision via ward the entire time that was happening. So Tiffin was able to make.
Tiffin's looking to collapse on Dreadful in this bot lane, and Ashe is such a good pick into Garen. If your character's engage tool is run right at them, Ashe is so good against that.
And I mean, Garen, I think Dreadful once again might have a 4-on-1 dive on him, and
he's gonna back off. He knows he has to back off.
He knows this time.
The whole team's missing. His turret's 1 health. Like that's a tower dive waiting to happen.
Well, and genuinely, Valpo Esports right now, knowing that all 4 of them are bot side, they don't have the damage to do it, unfortunately. But being able just to absolutely melt. If they could have melted Baron fast, it would have been a really good play for them. But unfortunately, the damage from Valpo Esports just isn't there right now. It's still kind of too early in the game for that to happen. We do see the Syndra though taking blue side tier 1, kind of opening up that map a little bit, and we do see Super Bear taking the enhanced scuttle to kind of help clear vision a bit. We do see Tiffin's bottom blue 1 side tower is about to fall, but it's not going to fall quite yet. And then just once again continuing just to kind of look at the general stats. Even though there is such a pretty big kill disparity, Valpo Esports is just about 2k gold. We do see that there is a full-on engage happening.
This Garen build is very squishy, but it does hit like a truck with that Phantom Dancer, as we saw when that Riven kind of melted under that first spin.
Yeah.
That was rough, especially after the slow. And that's kind of what Garen's looking to do.
We do see the
But
Garen
with this
get
build, you do lose a lot of your longevity in team fights. Like, he is just not as tanky as he could be,
Yeah.
especially going a marksman item for his second item.
Oh yeah, the Phantom Dancer. But again, that ghosted.
That damage is crazy.
That damage is crazy, and just the fact of being ghosted. We do see Tiffin being a Bush Warriors once again, just kind of preparing for something. We do see the Zac going in on the
On the Alistar. Alistar needs to pop his ult if he's going to try and get out of here. We need some cowbell. I don't think he's going to make it, but he holds on for quite a while. Tiffin's going to find Ezreal as well in the mid lane, so this is likely going to turn into another dragon for Tiffin.
yeah, and
but Jakimbo hitting some huge damage.
We do see
they're going to try. Oh, and they barely missed Tarek right before his ult goes off.
But Jakimbo is making this a lot more of an actual fight.
This is still
we
a
see
fight.
the charm. We see the charm on
Garen's in the
Jakimbo.
back line, and he's tearing it up back there.
And we're starting to see the Super Bear resets, and absolutely Super Bear going off on Riven now. We see that.
This is when Viego shines. You just need one team fight to kind of start to get back in, and this is great teamwork from the top side here. And they are going to take out Zac this time with no TP from Ahri to save him.
And Jakimbo and Super getting the shutdowns is exactly what they both needed to get back into this game.
They're going to turn this into another Hextech Drake for their Viego. And Valpo has actually pulled ahead on gold after this fight.
This was an absolutely amazing
They are going to
play.
really try and get mid-turret here, I think. I think they're going to just really try and
They're going to have to full
mid-turret.
push this, but then also be very careful. I would also not be surprised if... Oh, no, minions aren't
Minions aren't
going
going to get it. Minions aren't going to get it.
But we are going to see... We're going to see what they're doing.
We're trying for Baron?
We're going for a Baron play here. Baron play here is
Baron
interesting.
Ults are back up. We do have ults back up. So it's not the craziest thing in the world. But
we don't see a jungler. But we don't see a jungler from Tiffin.
Oh, Tiffin's jungle is back in base, and we do manage to get Baron
see
for
Super
Valpo
Bear
here. We're going to lose the law, but, Baron on your support, not the worst thing in the world. It's not the worst thing to lose.
Baron for a 3-minute power play on Valpo Esports is...
And if Valpo can manage to save this turret somehow, that's going to be a huge momentum play for Valpo. But I do think they're going to lose this mid-turret. But this counter push potential is very strong. This could be big for Valpo.
Genuinely, that Baron play was again.
That was bold. That was bold, but it paid off.
It was bold, but it paid off, and it was again that fun that you were talking about. Valpo was
that is a fun. We tapped out of the fun budget with that one, but it paid off. That was a good investment.
Yeah, unfortunately, we did lose the law.
We are gonna get this mid turret, and now the map is much more accessible for Valpo. When you're down a mid turret, it's kind of hard to move around safely, but when both teams are down a mid turret, it's kind of like the Wild West. It's like anything can happen in these jungles. Valpo is equal on turrets.
But Valpo is looking to do the same thing that keeps getting done to them over and over again.
Jakimbo finds Zac in the bushes, and Valpo is this is just amazing map splitting, and this pressure that they're applying in two lanes
but we do see the
great.
Viego absolutely chunking the Ahri. We see the full team fight going in with the engage. We see that the Tarek is throwing down the ultimate.
We
but
find
Riven
Riven just before the ult goes off, and we take out Zac as well. That's going to be most of Tiffin's engaged down. Viego finds a reset, managing to stay alive. All of Valpo stays up with their Baron buff, except for the Law, who never really had it, so that doesn't count. But Valpo's gonna get an inhib, and then I would guess they're gonna run for their lives because they are low. Oh no, they're keeping it going.
Are we looking?
This is the two biggest damage dealers on the enemy team. This is a daring play from Valpo, and I think we're leaving. I think we're taking our leaving,
which was an absolutely amazing play by Valpo Esports. This is when we're talking about like plays that you need to make in order to get ahead or keep your lead, this is exactly one of those. We're gonna see Diadem doing significant chunking damage. I really would like to. I would have liked if they hadn't spent so long in the bot side trying to do some Nexus turret damage. I would have loved to see that tier 2 tower from Tiffin go down as well. But Valpo Esports absolutely capitalized on this Baron play, making it a true Baron power play.
Sponsored by Rig Gaming.
Sponsored by Rig Gaming.
This
We
Baron Power Play brought to you by Rig Gaming.
We do also see that Zach, Garen, and Riven also all have it looks like max vision right now, or Riven's about to have max vision. Valpo and Tiffin both just need the constant reminder that vision is needed at all stages of the game and all parts of the map. There never is a ward that ever can be truly considered a bad word. This is brought to you by Vision Incorporated, which is not this is not a real company, by the way. It just is something that I know I forget to do all the time. So,
but we do see Valpo moving around this dragon. I think they're gonna really try and get this dragon, because the more Hextech souls, like you see Viego doing more and more damage in these team fights, and now that he's bought that Sterix gauge, he's a lot more free to just jump on somebody's head and pray that shield will save him.
But we do see the W.
Jakimbo's hitting some huge damage. Don't fight Syndra in choke points either. Both of these teams are very deadly in choke points. Syndra can just melt you if you overstep a little bit. With Tarek going down for that.
And Tarek going down, genuinely, I think is their second, like the second best kill for Valpo.
Right before a team fight, losing your Tarek ult,
especially in Dragon Pit. Dragon will be up in 10 and Tarek will be up in 13. Tarek will need at least about 10-15 seconds to get there, and Valpo Esports just has the ability to absolutely melt down Dragon. The problem is they do have to turn that Hextech Soul being available on map is scary, because that does again significantly reduce the time it takes. But again, when you're Valpo Esports and you have a Jakimbo that is 3 items and a full Dark Seal, anything kind of melts in its way. Anything melts in his way pretty quickly. We do see Valpo Esports roaming up towards Baron, probably trying to get vision on it for about a minute 9. For those of you who also don't know, if you are trying to prepare for any big objective, the last time you really should be backing is about a minute. A minute max.
You get some leeway when it's Hextech map, though.
You get some leeway.
It's kind of like a speed run strategy. Like you kind of get to skip a lot of that with.
You get like 45 seconds, but
like
even
45
then,
seconds.
you need to be at your base at 45. You can't start your recall and be back at 37. But we are going to see again just the cautionary tale of just friends being friends and slightly trading each other some choice words.
But Valpo's up about 4,000 gold here. And we've got shutdowns on the 3 people on our top side. And Ezreal just hit 3 items and his Manamune transform. So Ezreal's very strong right now, as long as he can hit those Qs in these team fights.
He's going to be doing it. He's going to be doing a lot of damage. We do see that the Tarek does have Knight's Vow. I'm pretty sure it has to be the Ashe that is designated as
Ashe.
Worthy. We do see the stun hit Tarek, and once again Jakimbo absolutely.
Oh, and Ashe's arrow going wide, not going to find any members of Valpo Esports. We're going to secure the dragon. Jakimbo is alone. He needs some help from his team.
Jakimbo working out on a spacing though.
Is anybody going to TP to Zach this time? I don't think so. Nobody is brave enough.
They don't have the time, and it would have been a decent trade. But we are going to see that was once again absolutely huge Valpo Baron power play. Again, we got 3 minutes of action, and this time the law does have Baron.
He keeps his Baron this time, and this turret is going to go down quick.
Pardon the interruption for 1 second.
No spoilers.
Pardon the interruption for a second. But we are going to see, as Valpo Esports, again, it takes this Baron. It is a 4v5 right now. Well, technically 3v5. Tarek did just get off respawn from Tiffin's end. We are going to see...
Valpo is just making their way into the base. They're the Law with a little bit of an overextend there. We've got Garen TPing into the base, only to run away about 2 seconds later.
I think we're going to see Valpo Esports kind of just hold... Valpo Esports is holding off. Or maybe even pretending to do backs. No, it looks like we're going to have full backs. I would assume that Jakimbo is going to be able to buy a full Magi's at this point. And as we see, I would say we should see a full item completion by every single team member of Valpo Esports completed here with all that extra gold.
We have our own Zeke's Convergence now. Oh wait, they never had one, but we have one now.
They had Knight's Vow.
But now we have Zeke Convergence.
And I was going to say, we do see Jakimbo, as always, one step ahead of everyone. Actually having the Zanyas. Zanyas is a really good
I mean,
option.
he's at 4 items and a fully stacked Dark Seal. That guy's kind of a beast right now.
I would have loved to see the Magi's, but Jakimbo is doing a good mixture of both offensive and defensive. We did see in that last Baron fight that he got slightly put out of position, and that Zanya is giving that 2.5 seconds of invulnerability is genuinely just enough to ensure um,
So
that the team
we
can
have Dragon up in
rally
a
around
minute,
him.
but I'm not sure if Valpo's going to take it. I think Valpo's honestly just going to look to push these waves in and end.
When we
Oh,
do
oh, and
absolutely just see.
this is a big engage. The Law getting in, getting stunned. He's going to pop his ult in a second and become unstoppable. Like, not unstoppable, but he's going to become very,
We
very
see the
tanky.
Garen. We see the Garen go in. Garen
Garen's
throws
in.
down the
He's
ult.
spinning to win. Diego's getting some resets, which is really where he thrives.
We see the Syndra absolutely
We're gonna see another
destroy the
reset.
enemy
It's like,
team.
oh,
The
and
double
he-
reset and the double kill on that.
That is
ult.
well played by Valpo, and Tiffin is already typing GG in the chat.
Yeah, I was like, we still got some time, and
Oh, another one has typed GG in the chat.
you were 100% right. Even
Yeah.
though Drag was up in 30
and
seconds,
Valpo is gonna take their first match of the season in 3.
Speaking. So with that being said, this is Valpo winning the first game of the GLEC conference 2-1 versus Tiffin. I know I was on my seat, especially on this third game, especially towards anything after 15 minutes. Vector, what was your kind of final impressions of the game?
Yeah, this was a nail biter early, but like I said during the match, Valpo, the thing we did differently this game than last game is we managed to stem the bleeding. You just have to stop doing stuff. Not really stop doing stuff. You just have to get your footing back under you and make the safe plays. Make the safe investments so that you can get some gold back and start closing that gap between you and the enemy team. And then once you're on a little bit more of even footing, that's when you start making those more risky plays like that Baron play. Like if you're down by 2,000, 4,000 gold, you're never going to make that Baron play. It's too risky. But when you're even, you can roll the dice a little bit. And sometimes, like it did here, it pays off.
I was going to say overall, I 100% agree. I'm looking forward to the continuation of the season that Valpo Esports has to offer. The next game that we will actually be streaming Smash on Saturday, but next time you will see us in the league booth will be Saturday, right around mid afternoon, around 2 or 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Please keep a lookout on on Valpo Esports socials if you are wanting to tune in. But with that being said, it was an absolute honor to see you guys again and to welcome the league team back for their
Yeah.
for an inaugural victory for the 2024-2025 academic season.
Thank you all for tuning in tonight. And we'll see you. We'll see you on Saturday for Smash and Sunday for some more league content.
All right, with that, take care, Beacons.